Good afternoon. I'd like to speak directly to co-workers, neighbors, and fellow Minnesotans who identify themselves as conservative or Republican and consider themselves reasonable people. People who believe in the Constitution and the rule of law and basic decency, even when politics gets uncomfortable. I'm not talking to extremists. I'm not trying to convince conspiracy theorists, people who think January 6th was acceptable, or those who dismiss the current protests as paid agitators. This message isn't for them. It's for people who know better and who say they don't support what's happening, but stayed silent. We're not isolated from each other, folks. We're your neighbors in the suburbs and in the city. We're on the same soccer sidelines and the same basketball bleachers, shopping in the same Costco aisles, and sending our kids to the same schools. Our lives are already connected. I work in healthcare. I'm an immigrant. I'm a U.S. citizen, a taxpayer, and a homeowner, a soccer dad. Like thousands of others in Minnesota, I show up every day to take care of people, including you and your families. And right now, many of us are living in fear. ICE is not doing targeted enforcement. Agents are everywhere, outside hospitals, grocery stores, apartment buildings, schools, playgrounds, churches, mosques, synagogues. They are posted outside maternity wards while new parents are afraid to leave the hospital with their newborns. This isn't rumor. This is happening across Minnesota. And it's disrupting daily life for everyone, not just immigrants. These are broad sweeps. People, including U.S. citizens, people like person law, are being stopped in public and asked for documents without clear cause. They are being confronted by masked, heavily armed federal agents in tactical gear, often with no explanation or no warrant. That's not conservative governance. That's not respect for the Constitution. When enforcement looks random and appearance-based and militarized, it stops being public safety and becomes intimidation and chaos, not law and order. This isn't just Minneapolis or St. Paul. In suburbs, ICE agents are going on to construction sites in sub-zero temperatures, demanding workers to come down from rooftops. And in one recent case, a worker was stuck for hours in freezing conditions until the project was shut down. This happened far from the city center, in communities that didn't think this would affect them. Friends, the impact doesn't stop there. Families are being torn apart, sometimes within hours. Parents are afraid to go to work because they are scared they won't make it back home to their children. Children, 5-year-olds and 2-year-olds, are being separated from their parents. Some families are being transferred to detention centers in Texas before they can even contact a lawyer or make arrangements for their children, even when they are here through legal pathways or active immigration processes. Kids are missing school because families don't want to risk the walk to the bus stop. This is not about going after the criminals or the worst of the worst. This is about ordinary families trying to survive the frigid winter. Friends, as a healthcare worker, this part matters deeply to me. People are avoiding medical appointments and skipping clinic visits. They're afraid to come to the hospital, even when they are sick, even when their children need care, because ICE presence has made healthcare feel unsafe. That puts lives at risk. It puts all of us at risk. So I'm recording this. I am aware of a co-worker whose father was stopped yesterday, detained, questioned, kept in the cold. Thankfully, eventually released. He just went outside to get something from his truck. But the damage was already done. My co-worker is shaken, angry, and scared. And then he's expected to walk into the hospital to take care of patients and be completely professional as if nothing just happened. Last Friday, tens of thousands of people marched in Minneapolis and peacefully protested. I wanted to be there. I really did. But I had a 12-hour night shift in the hospital. As much as I wanted to stand with my community, I couldn't abandon my patients. So I worked in silence. I went home the next morning and took a short nap. When I woke up, I learned that there had been another shooting. This time, an ICU nurse. Forgetting that it was below zero. I didn't even dress properly. I rushed to the site where Alex was killed and stood shoulder to shoulder with others at the vigil. And I was devastated. I didn't sleep that night. The following day, my family and I went to Mall of America. As we were leaving, we encountered at least 10 off-duty officers at the entrance as they were coming in. No interaction, no explanation, just presence. They stared us down, man. They stared me down. Some of them laughing. My friends, a lot of you say you don't support what's happening. You say this isn't who you are. But when enforcement expands into hospitals, neighborhoods, job sites, schools, and places of worship, when families are afraid to leave their homes, your silence becomes part of the story. This isn't a fringe issue. It is not distant. It is not just an immigrant problem. Every Minnesotan is feeling this, whether you choose to acknowledge it or not. I spent years defending you, my friends, finding middle ground and refusing to let you be targeted for your beliefs when you were outnumbered. And I will never forget how alone that effort feels right now.